Hey there, it's Glenn with PTSD while black. Um, Today was a challenging day for me with the news of the school shooting in Nashville, Tennessee, by a 28-year-old woman, a transgender woman, shooting up a school. Um, my heart broke for the families. My heart broke for the shooter at the same time. Um, I unfortunately have the ability to have empathy for people that are involved in both sides of situations because I see all of us as human and having needs. And I just, I had a hard time today coping with it. I did the grocery shopping. I was going to do errands and do things around the house. And I saw that on the news and it just brought up my old trauma from when I went to high school in Tennessee in 1999 when the Columbine High shooting happened um, in Colorado. And in our English class, we were having a debate on, what's right, what should be done, how do people feel about what had happened. And of course, I always played devil's advocate in um, class. I'm like, well, could you think of it this way? I try to think of things differently versus what everyone else is thinking because I like to see all sides of a situation. And it's so funny because we often say, well, wait until we hear from both sides before we make a judgment. So in our English class, I made the statement, I'm like, if someone has been bullied for years, I can understand them choosing to resort to violence. Is it the best choice? No, but I understand it. And because I was a black girl who was goth, had my eyebrows shaved, and I had all these scars from being a self mutilator from the age of 11, I was immediately viewed as if I was someone who was going to do a school shooting. And so I know what it's like on being accused of taking some sort of action versus being someone who actually does. I have never done that. Okay. For the record, I was afraid of firearms and they were trying to teach us how to shoot when I was 11 or 12. Um, I was an honor student. I think I was graduating fourth in the class, and I think I dropped to sixth or eighth, something like that, after getting kicked out of school for making the statement. Um, I didn't say that I was bringing a gun to school. I said I can understand someone who did, but people were afraid, and so they went with their fears. I think of that now, and this situation with this poor individual who made a decision to take such young lives because of their lack of acceptance and expression and dealing with the hurt of not being seen in my home state. And I know what it's like to be different. I know what it's like to not fit in. I definitely don't know what it's like to not be in the right body, even though I would joke all the time in school. I would say, oh my God, I'm a gay white man trapped in a black woman's body, and a gay white cheerleader at that, trapped in a black woman's body. That was always my joke in high school. And because I don't know, I love Broadway. I don't know, but it was just this flamboyant nature that was in me. But I'm a cis het woman. Um, and like, guess God got the right assignment this time around. I don't know. But my heart aches that someone would choose this type of violence out of retaliation and anger for the hurt and limitation that they've gone through. There are other choices. And I know, especially having lived there, I know it feels like there aren't many choices as to how to be. And I can understand somebody being angry at the news. But what I did today is I sang and I wrote a parody about um, basically saying I'm white trash baby and I was taught to hate. I wrote a parody about being taught to hate. I sang songs. I sang Broadway. I sang Wicked, Defying Gravity. I have tools as an adult to get it out of me, but I know what it's like when you're in a place where you're limited and you're taught to just not have any feelings or any needs, to where childish thinking, limited, fearful thinking makes decisions. Because, I mean, look, I was a self injurer and I let limited, fearful thinking make my decisions living there because I was taught don't cry, don't have any feelings, don't make anyone feel inconvenienced by your needs. It's how I was raised. And I just knew that I was kind of literally bigger, bigger than my hometown, bigger than that kind of thinking, that I'm pretty accepting of everyone. And I don't understand why everyone cannot accept me. So, well, that's what my inner child thought. I now know as an adult, as I've been having a relationship with race and identity, that I really was just an expressive, creative, talented Black girl. And me being a goth Black girl in Tennessee was like, what? What? I love death metal. I Yes, and I listened to Marilyn Manson. Oh my god. In fact, I actually ended up singing a Marilyn Manson song today because I was so upset. It was, Target Audience. It's the one that he wrote about school shootings. Um, but I'm just sad. I am just sad that instead of creating a society where we can see people as being whole beings, we choose to separate and we choose to label people as being different or not good enough because we're unfamiliar with their needs. And then we choose to create laws that suppress that expression and identity. That somehow becomes a solution. And that creates that bottled up frustration, anger, or hatred that this individual carried out. And what I'm saying is the person's 100% responsible for their decision to do this. They could have just gone to karaoke instead. They could have called a friend. They could have gone to, hopefully, a support group. I mean, there's so many support groups that exist now online because of COVID. So there are so many different places they could have gone to discuss their issues of identity, but they probably just didn't know about it. And like out here, we have, I think, trans emotion. One of my good friends died um, a few couple years ago, and he was always volunteering, always helping people. He was a trans man and and a therapist, and he just was always like, I always want to help people. And I know if he were here today and he was to see what was happening, I know his heart would break. His heart would completely break. And so I'm the weird one. I'm the weird one because I can see where, yes, we need gun control, and yes, at the same time, don't take people's guns from them because people need to defend themselves. I respect seeing both ways. I see both ways. But if someone is having a mental health crisis, it may not be a good idea for that individual to have a gun. Or if they have a mental health issue, but they are taking medication, then perhaps it's okay for them to have a gun. We can have that discussion as a nation versus just our black and white thinking that we have. Um, God. And more importantly than gun control, I I just really see that we need to put the emphasis on mental health, on helping people to heal. Instead of banning drag queens at libraries, put your energy and time into mental health, into acceptance, into understanding, into allowing people to be part of society. What if we invested in that instead of division? Instead of limitations and saying, "Oh, these people don't belong in our society." Well, guess what? They're born And as they say, God don't make no mistakes, so they belong here. Get over it, and let's make a world that's appropriate for them to exist. Is that so radical? I don't know. I don't know. But I've just been upset all day with this because what made I left Tennessee at 19 years old. I left on a Greyhound bus. I was suicidal. I was like, I'm going to kill myself if I stay here because I see things so differently. And I was lucky that I had a friend who also had social anxiety disorder, was a pen pal out here in California, and I came to live with him and his mom because she used to be from Tennessee and she understood it. But people shouldn't have to run away from home to get the help they need. Can our homes be loving spaces? Can our small hometowns, be places of going, you know what? I don't understand where you're coming from. I don't know what your reality is like. And right now, I might not be at the place just yet to get it, but I do believe in your right to be a whole human being. Can we say that? How about we just say that? It's okay to say, I don't understand someone's desire to do something. I don't understand what your reality is, but I do understand your right to be a whole damn person, just like I have rights. Because aren't these the same people who will turn around and say all lives matter? But I guess not the lives of the trans people in our communities. Those who choose to dress and drag, their lives don't matter. But all lives matter. So we've got to really change this. We've got to really change this. And again, as a children's entertainer, I'm pissed off that kids were killed. I'm totally pissed off and sad and angry. I was up all day watching the news and singing to bring myself back to balance. But I'm just I don't understand. I don't understand why we insist on choosing hatred, limitations instead of inclusion and acceptance. And then on top of this, the other thing that made me angry is the subject is going to be about gun control versus about mental health versus about inclusion. The whole subject is going to be about gun control. And so I see the left side being able to say, well, you know, if we had done checks and balances with this person, then they would not have had this gun or had the access to this ammo. Okay, okay, sure. And now you're going to have the right side going, see those transsexuals or drag queens, they just don't know how to be part of our society. So we can't allow them. Look what they have done to us. No. That that one person did a shitty fucking thing to children. That person does not represent all trans people. That person does not represent all people who choose to dress in drag. I hope the fuck we can get that straight. I hope we can get that straight because I know this is America and it's just going to be what's in the news, what's on the headlines, what is flashy, what is interesting. And then the lives of the people who are impacted by this will be forgotten. We won't be talking about their lives or their needs or creating changes within our society. It'll just be a process for controlling gun laws and to push further right wing agendas against the LGBTQ community. And none of that shit has to happen. Whoops, I know I'm trying not to swear. I'm trying not to swear, but I'm really upset. And I swear like a sailor. But I'm really angry. I'm angry that this person chose this. I'm angry that this person didn't know or was not aware of resources available to them. I'm angry that that wasn't networked or communicated. I think that in the balance, if you're going to try to ban drag in places where children may be present or may even be able to see a person in drag, which I'm like, if you're trans and you are dressing as the identity that as what you identify as, and you're walking to the grocery store, you're breaking the law being you. That if we're going to create dumbass laws like this, then I think that resources need to be made available for people who are surviving this. I think actually seeing RuPaul when I was a teenager, seeing her on TV, actually, I think his pronouns are he and they, and I'm so sorry if I messed up RuPaul. But seeing RuPaul on the TV in the 90s, that gave me a reason to live. That gave me a reason to think differently. And I was living in a small town in Tennessee. Seeing Tu Wong Fu, Thanks for Everything. Oh man, that movie just lit up my world. Lit up my world. Because to me, I think drag is about expression and it's just about a person being and creating and doing and just thinking outside of the box. So a lot of my in art class, a lot of my art projects were drag queens, actually. We had to make a vase. I'm just going to end this with something light because, dear God, I'm angry. We had to make a vase, and so I made a vase of the character Chi Chi Rodriguez, which is the young um, drag persona of John Leguizamo's character. She's wearing this like mermaid fishtail dress and she has her hands on her hips. And so I was like, that's a perfect shape for a vase. So her hands became the handles and her hat at the opening at the top was where you could put the flowers in and just had this beautiful fishtail opening at the bottom. I loved making that. And yeah, it's probably ugly as homemade sin, but I loved making it. It was so much fun. And then when we had to make a face mask, this one here decided to make a mask with fake hair because I wanted to be able to style the hair on the mask. And it was ugly. God, it was ugly. I was just doing too much. I think I might have been a drag queen in a past life. I don't know, y'all. I don't know. But either way, either way, I think if we lent more of our time towards acceptance and resources for people and less time on judgment, separation, and venom and fear, I think that we could probably get a lot further ahead in life. But yeah, I just I had to vent. I had to vent. And who knows? I'm pretty sure Lady Gaga is gonna sue me for the parody that I just wrote because I made a parody of Born This Way from Taught to I called it Taught to Hate. Um, I just made a parody, but I don't know if I'm allowed to sing it in public. We'll see. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm just a mess, and my heart goes out both to the LGBTQ community and to the school and the families that lost lives today. And I hope that we can come out of this honoring the humanity on both sides of the situation. I really hope we can, because I'm frankly terrified that we won't. All right, I gotta wind myself down and go to bed. Till next time, y'all. Peace.